Hello and welcome to the last part of Let's Play Cave Story, at least the last part for now. I will do the Sacred Ground in Hell, but first I want to show you guys the real ending of the game, or I should say the ending of the game where you, the ending of the game that most people will get, let's put it that way, because, you know, it's, I guess, disputable what the real ending of the game is. So that Sacred Ground stuff will come at a later time. I know I have kind of a reputation for saying things like that, but, you know, in my defense, those Meat Boy videos did come out eventually. It might have been 3 months late, but, you know, they eventually did see the light of day. In any case, in this video, we are going to tackle the final 4 bosses, and in true kind of retro game fashion, we have to fight them all in succession without any healing points in between them. So this can be a major stumbling block for people playing through the game the first time, and I had a pretty rough time myself. So Misery confides in us here that she just has to follow the person with the demon crown. She's not trying to be a dick to us just out of her own volition. Misery is probably the easiest boss that you face in this what would you call it? Not a triumvirate, like a quadumvirate. But yes, you want to lose as little health against her as possible, which should probably go without saying. But the more health that you can keep up for the later boss fights, the better, because those ones actually have a tendency to be a lot more difficult than this one. Fortunately, if you do lose some health, and I have lost a little bit, she shoots out some dragons, or I don't know what you call them, fire bats, that you can attack for some extra hearts, or experience on your weapons if you're using something other than the spur. But I have foregone that because I think with the spur I'll probably be okay. Provided I can make it to the 4th boss, there's enough drops on that 4th boss that I can usually survive to defeat it. So we'll take a trip up here, past Misery's Cave and into the King's Room. So we can see that there's a lot of Mamigas locked up in cages here. And there is our old friend the Doctor, who we finally get to talk to face-to-face for the first time. Or first lengthy time anyway, let's put it that way. So the flowers contain not only something to draw up someone's latent aggression, but also to kind of minimize their inhibitions. So apparently the red crystal is made out of absinthe, or, you know, Smirnoff Ice. Smirnoff Ice? How old am I, like 13? The Doctor, the first incarnation of the Doctor, I should say, is relatively easy. The only attacks that he uses are those, that kind of like sine-cosine wave of the red crystal there. And he does another move every 3 or 4 times he moves position, where he shoots out a bunch of red circles that you have to avoid. And it's not so bad, really, in the whole scheme of things. He's maybe a little bit harder to avoid than Misery, but still a relative cakewalk, particularly if you're using the spur. You can see like one fully charged spur does a shitload of damage to him. So one more and he should be done like dinner right now. If I could just hit him instead of bouncing it off his sweet Russian helmet. Just come down here, yeah. So by killing his physical body, it causes the red crystal to take control of him. And then we fight his second form, again in true retro game fashion, a multi-form boss. He's also honestly not that hard, although I found him to be probably the hardest the first time I played through the game. Now, with the spur he's not so bad, but when I only had the machine gun, it required the use of some pretty significant tactics, like using the level 3 bubbler to dodge those bats that he shoots out, or using the level 3 blade to attack him. With the spur, it simplifies the process a lot, and I think I'm misrepresenting the difficulty of the game by kind of plowing through these bosses as easily as I just did. So we have destroyed the Doctor, but that is far from the end of the game. Maybe not far from the end of the game, but certainly not the end of the game, let's put it that way. So we'll enter up here into our last room, the black space. And we can recognize our old friend, the Core, here, although it looks a little bit frozen over. So we find out Misery is still alive because, I guess she's a witch, so she's impossible to kill. And she offers us a choice right now to leave the island with Sue, and our safety will be guaranteed, or to stay here and die with the island. So leaving with Sue seems to be a pretty good option, but we don't get a chance to actually take her up on that. Because before she can finish her ultimatum, the disembodied spirit of the Doctor comes back Or perhaps the disembodied spirit of the demon crown. In any case, this is bad news for both Misery and Sue, and also myself, because it puts me up in the last boss fight of the game, at least if you're not going to do the Sacred Ground, and I'm not just yet. And it's actually pretty difficult, probably the most difficult, consistently the most difficult, I should say. Because I've had a lot of trouble with this one past my first playthrough. And you can see that the red crystal kind of possesses Misery and turns her into a weird kind of shark creature. And it also possesses Sue and turns her into, looks like a rabbit cast-off from the Spice Girls or something. Anyway, so we gotta fight the core again, and it varies in difficulty, but it's usually pretty tough. What you want to do for the most part is avoid Sue and Misery. If you can just kind of ignore them but avoid their attacks, you'll be wise to do that. And then just kind of hang out on these pieces of the core until the core actually opens up and you can fire at it with your spur. If your spur is relatively charged up, you should find that it's not too hard of a fight, and each one will do a pretty significant amount of damage to the core. But, as you might expect, the core has another kind of retro gaming trope where once you get it down past about half of its health, it shoots out projectiles that do significantly more damage, and that's where you really have a good risk of dying. And you can see I only have 14 health left, but I have a secret weapon that will give me a fighting chance against this. Otherwise, if I did not have this, I would probably be suffering right now. So you can see the projectiles that it shoots out right now don't really do a lot of damage to me, and I've already gotten it down almost to half of its health. Every once in a while, I just need to fire my spur in order to make sure that, Sue and Misery are kept in line. You can kill them, or at least incapacitate them, but it's not necessary, and most of the time, it's just kind of a waste of your efforts. Better to focus all of your efforts on the core itself, and then you can take that down even faster. So if we could just get the core to open up here, we could finally fire our, yeah, there we go, fire the spur at it. And now that it's significantly damaged, it's going to start shooting us with a projectile that does significantly more damage. So I'm going to use my life potion right away that I got back from Jenko way back in the sand zone. And thank God I have this, otherwise I would have been killed instantly, I think. But anyway, these projectiles do 10 damage each, which is, I guess, kind of par for the course when you consider what we've been dealing with lately. But I kind of struggle against this one, as you can see. If you take the strategy that I have of just kind of riding those pieces of the core upwards, it's really easy to get hit by them, as I just did literally 3 times in a row. Now I'm kind of in dire straits. I really need to get up there and actually get a spur shot off, and maybe one more will be enough to do it. Alright, that was surprisingly close. That boss fight was more of a challenge than I expected it to be, let's put it that way. So now that the boss is defeated, I think I'm going to let the game play itself out, because there's about 7 minutes left, including credits, but all of that is going to be story. So before I leave, I just want to say thank you to everyone who made this Let's Play possible, particularly the viewers and Pixel for creating the game. Hope you guys enjoy the ending, and as I told you earlier, I will see you when I do the Sacred Ground videos. Thanks for watching this Let's Play of Cave Story.